Hi everyone, my name is Tiffany. Welcome back, or welcome if you've never been here before. Today I am sharing 10 unforgettable heroines. I'm very excited about this stack. I love all of them, compare all else to them, and continue to revisit these books. I want to start this video out by saying this is being filmed during normal daytime hours. You're usually getting these during insomniac ones, so you might hear people on their way to work in the background, and I just want to apologize in advance if there's any noise, okay? Let's get into it. I think it's only appropriate to start with the queen. And excuse me if I pronounce her name wrong, but I am referring to Yavin from A Heart of Blood and Ashes by Milla Vane. Yavin may be feeble in body, but she's fierce in character, and she endures some of the most egregious abuse at the hands of her own father, who's aiming to control their matriarchal kingdom by keeping her a secret, locked away, starved, and demeaned. Oh, she is a strategist, and a lot of her plotting to take back her throne does lead to the death of our hero's parents, but also to the greatest vengeance in love. Madoc is the prince of a barbarian nation. He is the commander of the Parsathian army, and when he returns from duty, he hears of the death of his parents and knows there's been foul play, but his hands are tied politically due to an alliance of the realms, and so he can't outright kill the king responsible, but he can kidnap and kill his daughter, Yavin, and he plans to throw her corpse at his feet to settle the score. This is a hate to love, marriage of political alliance, fantasy romance that is unlike any other. I love how the fantasy world and romance plot work in tandem. They're inextricably linked. They both shine here. And when Madoc first meets Yavin after bombarding her caravan, she is seemingly weak physically, malnourished, sallow. She doesn't look like much of a queen, but this heroine is self-sacrificing, willing to be self-scraping, and willing to do whatever it takes to take back her throne and her vengeance. I love that she makes it very clear when she offers her hand in marriage so they can both get what they want, that whether he accepts or not, she is still buoyed by the blood in her veins and remains a queen. This will only benefit him, and I love that about her. Oh, Yavin. She's also genuine and garners the respect of his dragon, the warriors that accompany and protect him, and she engages in the mental and emotional gymnastics of Maddox's anger, grief, and mistrust of her. It is just masterful. This is not a pseudo boss, girl boss representation lab where we're just supposed to believe she's badass because you're telling us that she is. This is not Madoc cleaning up after her unilateral decisions that we're supposed to think are feminism, but they're really just misguided, freaking impulsive acts. Sorry, I've just read a lot of those. This is not that. Yavin is willing to play the long game. She is regal, quick-witted, and calculating. Somehow she's innocent, but also headstrong, and she's everything that I want in a heroine. I love that. Her physical afflictions never get in the way of her goals. I thought that was such a beautiful message throughout. She is more than capable. Her mind is sharp, and so is her spirit. And I absolutely love her. If you have not met her yet, you should. I suggest that you get the audiobook. This is a fantasy romance where in the first 100 pages or so, it was working some mental muscles that I hadn't in a while. But the page is worth the turn, okay? If you haven't met her, you need to get on it. The next heroine I found because my book bestie Jen from the book Refuge said that she reminded her of Yavin. So I'm going with Luvine. I hope that's right. Luvine from Entreat Me by Grace Draven. This is a Beauty and the Beast retelling, and Luvine is a mature, widowed heroine. She is headstrong, she is bold, she is outspoken and tenacious. Her tenacity leads her to the home of our hero, Lord Ballard, because she refuses, to let her younger sister be courted without a chaperone. There's no ruination happening on her freaking watch. Her sister will be civilly courted. Get that engagement in coin before she gives up the cookie, okay? I love how Luvine insists that she's coming, that she will be staying, how she shakes the literal foundation of that entire mystical home. And also she makes a really good verbal sparring partner. She isn't put off by his affliction. She is also very almost overbearing in her acts of kindness. And she could stick it to him. I mean, she completely bulldozes past all of his defenses, and she's willing to capitalize on their connection because she is not an innocent little miss. I love what they find in each other. I love how he sees her beauty in this. I love that what they have is unexpected, how the curse is very unique and the breaking of it as well is very clever. And it's like he needed a heroine like her. There needed to be a heroine that was so headstrong that she willed what she wanted to happen, that she was so free of prejudice and willing to tell him what was what, and willing to just wrestle everything out of what she could in this situation. And I think, she's definitely unforgettable. I think that this Beauty and the Beast retelling is unforgettable, and it's also another favorite fantasy romance of mine. I love Luvine, okay? She's very unique. This next heroine is going to be very hard for me to capture in words. I want to do her justice, and that is, oh my gosh, that's Sloane from Yavin by Sophie Lark. Oh, how do I do this? I have been smitten with Sloane since her origin in this book, throughout the evolution of her characterization over the course of this series. Okay, in this book, she is a global assassin. She is packing concoctions, and she never misses a mark until Yavin. And she is vigilant and intelligent and audacious. Oh, mere words. I see her as this entity almost. Yavin clocks her prowess and that she's a shark, and respects that because of how close that she's able to get to him. And for me, she really represents this sort of catch-all, seize the moment, lust for life type of feeling, because she is well-traveled, well-versed in the art of people, if that makes sense. And she is this larger-than-life character, and yet she's able to see her own blind spots and bend for love, and she's willing to fight to the death to protect that. I have enjoyed reading her at different milestones within her story, how she matures, how she's just so ruthless but also insightful. And their goals, this is mafia romance couple goals. What they have is just unprecedented. I love them to death. That's all I have to say. Sloane is everything. And if you haven't met her either, you need to pick it up. Just pick it up. And you'll see what I'm talking about. She's everything. I'm done. I'll continue. Okay, the next... Before I drop my stack, hold on, because this is a big one. Okay, the next heroine I have, I mean, is Bennett from Sea of Ruin by Pam Godwin. Come on! I mean, she trades in her corset for a compass, okay? This is a pirate captain heroine. It's her birthright, and yet also she has earned the reverence and respect from her men and her crew. And what I love about Bennett is that she has experienced that plate tectonic shifting love. I mean a celestial type connection with her husband. And she was willing to walk away. In fact, she runs! She runs when she suspects or kind of gets word of the fact that he may love another. She will not let him disrespect her allegiance, loyalty, and their union. And I love when he hunts her down and tries to re-enter her life. She hits him with the shackles and like an allergy-producing kiss. I mean, it was just so gratifying for me to have a heroine and a historical not buckle due to her flesh. She's not bewitched by their connection. Yes, it's felt, okay? She can recognize, but she can also stand on principle. Had she let him explain things, we wouldn't have this book. But I love Bennett. She rages against this machine of society. She answers the call of the sea. She's a captain and a siren of two men. Oh, and she's just so freaking badass. What she endures in this book is just absolutely astounding. She continues to keep going. She gets up. She keeps moving. I absolutely love her. I think she belongs on every woman's shelf. There are trigger warnings though. This is a dark historical romance. There are trigger warnings for SA in this book and a lot of other things. So I would be, be mindful if for some reason you haven't heard about this book and you're thinking about picking it up. But I love Bennett, okay? She is absolutely incredible. I haven't seen any heroine like her. Or like this next one that I constantly compare other heroines that are in bully romances to. And I'm talking about Zoe from Untouchable by Sam Mariano. Zoe advocates for herself and reports the harassment that she withstands of another student. Wow, that was a really weird way of saying it. She reports her harassment, okay? Yet she lives in a town where football reigns supreme. They're more interested in championships and her safety, and the student that she reports gets benched. So in retaliation, the hero does SA her in the beginning of this book. If that is irredeemable for you, if SA is a trigger warning for you, I suggest that you skip this book. In fact, I think Sam Mariano also suggests that you skip this book because in her author's note, she makes it very clear that Carter Mahoney doesn't need to change in order to be loved. And so this, this might be one to sit out on if that kind of theme bothers you. So I want to be really clear, just in case, you've never heard of this book before. It is very dark. We're dealing with a psychopath of a hero that is very coercive and infatuated with her heroine. Okay. And what I love about Zoe is her courageous curiosity. The fact that she's intrigued by his psychopathy and she is compelled to figure out what makes him tick. She's willing to probe and almost prostrate herself in the pursuit of that discovery. And it is her line of questioning that gets him to think about his own logic, his own trauma. The fact that he is in awe of all that she's able to endure, and the fact that has great concern for him in the midst of everything that he's putting her through. I always go back to her because I need a heroine in a bully romance to be able to wrestle some kind of ground from the hero after reading this. I mean, I now give more props to Carter Mahoney for being able to bend because of his love for her, because he cares about her happiness, especially after reading, you know, The Descent by Sam Mariano, because that just reads like how Carter could have turned out without Zoe. And the heroine in that book is very much just along for the ride. Here, Zoe has an influence on Carter. And I loved this book. It's very difficult. It's very difficult, but I always go back to it. Carter Mahoney always has me screaming, come harder, when I'm in other books. I love the ending. It's one that I revisit very often. Granted, I'm a little biased because where she ends up because of Carter is very much in alignment with like a personal milestone of mine and like achievement. And so I attach a lot onto that ending. But I always go back to Zoe. I think it will always be, what would Zoe do when I'm in a bully romance? So she has to be in the stack. The next heroine is also from a bully romance, okay? And I also have great affinity for her and this couple in general. And this is gonna be the first time I will be using her name. I have talked about this book a lot on my channel, but I have omitted her name. And so today I'm going to share it, and that is Kat from The Bully by Sophie Lark. Again, I have talked about this book so much, so I will just be brief. But Kat has a very quiet strength. This is the third book in Sophie's Kingmaker series, where the children of the Mafia powers that be go to study and learn how to assume their future positions. And so Kat is the first and really only character to show up to Kingmakers scared and unsure of herself. This wasn't in the plan. She's not there to make alliances or to excel and set up her reputation. She even takes herself by surprise, and by making great waves despite her lack of confidence or belief that she even belongs there. And I just love how vigilant she is, because when you're overlooked, you can pick up on a lot of things that people aren't clocking. And it is because of her problem solving and intellect that she gets caught up in a situation where she is caught by Dean. This is a huge event within the series, and he is able to use this to blackmail her into submission. Yet somehow she wraps him around her finger without even aiming to do so. It's just that he clocks and can see her genuine nature. She is a place of exploration sensually and emotionally. She's a safe space for him. Oh, and I just love how unassuming her strength is. I love how she's always 3 steps ahead and isn't looking for anybody's praise but Dean's. She is an introvert and intelligent and immensely felt in this series, yet she doesn't need the spotlight. And I love Kat. Their romance is paradigm shifting for Dean, who is a menace within this series. And so I absolutely love them. Let's see. Oh, I have a note here. The next heroine on this list, I feel like, is a surrogate for all Mafia romance lovers, and that is Savannah from Filthy Hot by Serena Akeroyd. I absolutely love Savannah because she is a Mafia fangirl. Due to a very traumatic childhood experience, she has developed this obsession for Mafia men because they were her heroes and her vindicators in that experience. And so she has researched and collected data on their origin all the way up to the ever-growing vines that fortified what they are today. And her research is so sound and like so good that it gets a little too close to the filthy fuckers, okay, to the 5-pointers. And Aiden Jr. is sent to handle the situation, take her out because of all she knows. And he ends up taking her on because he is very intrigued by all that she's able to acquire in terms of information, and intrigued by the shark of a woman behind the ditzy mask that she wears in order to control the titans of industry within the investigative journalism profession. This woman is a chameleon. She is smart. She's tactful. I love that she knows that she's within a boys' club, and instead of being bogged down by it, she uses that information as a blueprint for navigation. I mean, I love to freaking see it. And their chemistry is very palpable. It's very immensely felt. But Aiden doesn't lean into that because he doesn't want to bring her into a world that she only knows on paper, especially after what she endured as a child. And so he walks away. Okay, and so after some time, they're thrust back together when Savannah really exposes some heavy hitters that just so happen to be enemies of our filthy feckers. And it turns into a bit of like a forced proximity situation because Aiden doesn't trust anybody to protect her properly. I just love how she is an independent powerhouse that thrives off his possession and dominance. Okay, like the way that her POV reads, it's like she's banging her mafia idol, and I was just living along with her. I'm gonna be annoying and pull some of it up. I'll give you a cut so that you're not waiting, but I do kind of need to find it, so I'll be right back. Okay, I got it. And I'm gonna be skipping around. I'll throw up the quotes. I'm gonna give you a little flick of the wrist when I'm jumping down. But I remember the first time I read this and I was just at a girling because she talks about how when she enters a room with Aiden, the effect, the molecular shift, what happens. And I love how she is shameless about enjoying that feeling. So I'm gonna read like a couple things from her POV because I just love her. Okay. This was like a court responding to a king and his queen. Oh fuck, I wanted that. I smirked as I owned my moment, that delicious, sweet high that was me feeling like I finally taking my fucking place in the world. My confidence already high, soared to impossible levels. That was because of him, which was exactly what a man should do. Raise you up, not tear you down. He was right about not mentioning other guys because they'd been boys. For the first time in my life, I was with a real man and it fucking rocked. I love her. I love Savannah because she is shameless about what it feels like to be with a man with a reputation that precedes him before he even enters a space. And when he does, it begets reverence and respect. And the thing about the filthy feckers that I love so much is that they run shit in Hell's Kitchen. Okay, they have sway. They are it. And yet they place their women on a pedestal. They know they'll never be good enough for them. So they are cherished. And I love how Savannah clocks what it is like to be with an alpha hero that is cognizant of what he has, how she revels in that, how again, she is a strong and independent woman who gleefully will give Aiden the reins. And I do not see that very often, okay? She does read like an alpha, and yet she can allow her hero to take the lead. I love how Serena Akeroyd hit the balance within that because it's not done very often. I see I'm alpha, no, I'm alpha, you know, and Savannah is no less badass because she finds his possessiveness and his dominance endearing. I love how her POV really describes the joy in being cherished in that way. It's so good. I love Savannah for that. Okay, I love that she's a Mafia fangirl. I love that her POV is its own kind of like battle cry for women. It's not heavy-handed and hitting you over the head. She really just showcases the benefit of holding out to be amplified in that way by a partner. And I love that. Okay. The next heroine that I I've talked about this book a lot, but she has to go on this list. And that is Sophie from Managed by Kristen Callihan. I'm sorry if this is shiny. Okay, I'm sorry if this is annoying. But Sophie is what I call a pixie woman, okay? A pixie woman has a bright light that shines. She is an elixir of a woman that soothes all that ails you. She is the magic. She is the party. And she grates on freaking Gabriel at the beginning of this book. He is everything but that. He is a stern brunch daddy of rigidity that keeps everyone in line, and she ruffles his feathers until it feels like a massage over time. They have the most hilarious meet cute on a plane where she disrupts his peace, and she's on her way to a job interview with the biggest band on the planet. Yeah, that tracks. And when she arrives, she learns that Gabriel is their manager. And I just love how Sophie's spark is so soothing for everyone else, and she really has to work hard to produce that for herself, put her foot down and prioritize her needs when it comes to Gabriel claiming that he can't do relationships even though they're playing house on the damn road. The man can't even sleep without her, and I mean sleep, like find peace and solitude without her, like solace, I mean, without her. And I love that her spirit is just so immensely felt that he knows that he cannot let a woman like her get away. And it's so good. I love a pixie woman. And the next woman or heroine, sometimes I do feel like they're a little bit real, but whatever. I'm gonna switch the order and put her here because I think these two would be friends and this would just be like a badass girls' night out. And I'm talking about Sloane from Carnal Urges by J.T. Geissinger. Oh my gosh, Sloane is that girl. She was a scene stealer in the first book. Okay, she has the beauty of Helena frickin' Troy. She's brilliant. She is quick-witted, she's bewitching, and for some reason, people just want to do her bidding. She is kidnapped by mafia in this book, and yet she claims the hearts of all of Declan's men. She is pulling strings with her hands tied in this book. I loved her freaking antics. She's absolutely hilarious. I loved the banter between them. It's sharp, it's quick, and I love how he falls. I mean, she truly has him like putty in her hands, yet Declan is still very dominant. So I love how he falls, but also convinces her that letting him be the boss can be a lot of fun too. And she's just so confident and sassy. And I think her submission is all the more gratifying because she is the siren of men. And she just is unlike any other captive I have read and manages to bring so much levity to some really dark and violent themes. She's absolutely unforgettable. She even overshadows her own sister that gets a book. I forgot about her sister even being mentioned because she just has that kind of shine and gravitas. Anyway, okay. The last heroine on my list is Danica Brown from Take a Hint, Dani Brown by Talia Hibbert. Talia Hibbert, however you say it. I was absolutely obsessed with the Brown Sisters series, but Dani really reigns supreme for me because she's such a freaking riot. From the very beginning of the book, when she's like dropping honey on her boob and petitioning the goddess Oshun to gift her a friends with benefit situation, okay? Dani is a career-obsessed academic. I kind of love that about her. She's not at all checking for love, only the steam after being emotionally jilted. And she's just a freaking all systems go insomniac. I mean, she's not looking for any distractions because Dani is the freaking distraction, and Saphir can keep up. Oh my gosh. I loved this friends to lovers like dynamic between them. I loved this fake dating situation that kind of thrusts them together. I love that Saf is this soft and supportive force that finally allows her to let somebody in, to let somebody take care of her, to broaden her view from this like tunnel vision of being focused on the academic accolades that affirm her being after being knocked down in life. I mean, she is a character that I absolutely love, I'd be friends with, and I loved watching her win, and she absolutely does with Zaf, because he loves her for just being Dani. She is enough as she is, and more than he ever imagined or expected he would be able to receive. And I just thought that their romance was so sweet and swoony. It's absolutely everything. Every time I think about Dani, I just get giddy. I smile, I laugh. She's everything. And she is, I think of all of the like heroines on this list, she's the one that feels most real to me. Like, I feel like I could bump into her. The banter in this is great. This book is everything. And I think that's the end of my stack. I hope I wasn't too long-winded. I want to thank you for joining me. Please consider subscribing and sticking around. And I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.